All right, I didn't put yesterday's up because yesterday I was interrupted in the middle. So here we go. This is yesterday's. Yesterday's is short. And we say after you eat any food, you should make a blessing. And there's different blessings that you say. So food that is grown, that grows from the ground, but it's not a tree, you make bre priya adama. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Right, that's the blessing before. You say, not after. After you eat anything, you have to make a blessing. Before you eat anything, you also have to make a blessing. The blessing you make before foods that are grown, that grow on trees. What the definition of a tree is not. It grows on a tree. You make bre priya ace, apples, the grapes, food that grows from the ground. It doesn't grow on a tree. Carrots, whatever. You make bre priya dama. Things that don't grow from the ground and they don't go on trees, like cheese and meat and water and things like that. So those things you make a blessing. Shehakol niya bidvaro. Most people say shehakol nihiyeh bidvaro. Says the Rebbe, that is not proper. When you make that blessing, you should say shehakol nihiyah bidvaro. Not a segel, nihiyeh bidvaro. Okay. My father wrote on a letter. This is the previous Rebbe speaking about his father, who was the fifth Rebbe of Chabad, the Rebbe Rishab. He said, my father wrote on a letter, cherish criticism. Ohev at the, what does it say? At the bikoret. You should love constructive criticism or even destructive criticism because it will place you on true heights. Right? If someone criticizes you, so no one here wants to hear, negative criticism. And everybody wants to be how do you say, to be encouraged. Everyone wants to be encouraged. You're very good. You did a good job. You're wonderful. Oh, you feel great. But what if you didn't do a good job? What if there's something wrong? And like your mother encourages you in America. Oh, my son is the best. so, so in some ways that destroys a person. Why does that destroy a person? Because it keeps him where he is. He thinks I'm okay the way I am. I don't have to improve. It says criticism is good because it causes you to improve. Okay, what if it's negative criticism and it's wrong and it's false? So you should say, if a person criticizes you, you should say, listen, maybe this guy is right. Ask somebody else. Take a third opinion. Maybe he's right. In other words, one of you is wrong. Either he's wrong or you're wrong. So you have to find out. But if it comes out that he's right and you're wrong, and he says, listen, you have to work on your voice. You have to work on how you speak. You slur your words. You have no point. I listened to what you said. There's no point to what you're talking about. You don't come to any conclusion. So maybe the guy is right. So what does it mean? I should have to improve myself. So it'll come to the point where you're almost longing, you appreciate it if someone gives you positive criticism. I'll tell you a very small example. There's a person in Kfar Chabad, I know him, he's a friend of mine, but he loses his temper. He loses his temper. Especially, he had a son, a grandson, and he would yell at them. And I took him aside and I said to him, listen, I'm your friend, right? Don't lose your temper. It makes you look, even what you say is right. But first of all, the person's not going to accept it. And second of all, it makes you look terrible. And not only that, you become terrible. And afterwards, he came to me, he said, listen, you have no idea how much I appreciate what you said. You're 100% right. And after that, I never saw him lose his temper again. I saw people do the same thing to him that they did before, and he didn't lose his temper. I even saw more. I saw someone come and yell at him and scream at him and say, you, because of you, yell and scream. And he just sat there and did nothing. Just did nothing. He just sat there and looked down. And I went to him, I said, call a kavod, what you did. He said, listen, I don't even know what that guy was talking about. So the fact is, I don't know what he was talking about. I don't know what he meant, whatsoever. I thought maybe he did something, he interpreted it properly. The guy just, whatever it was, he had problems at home or something, maybe mistaken identity. Said, I don't know. But a normal person, someone comes and yells at you and something like that, you say to him, hey man, you got the wrong person. You say something, No, he didn't lose it at all. It was calm. So criticism can be a very valuable and a precious thing. And there are a lot of people that they don't want any criticism whatsoever. And I'll just tell you what my father told me. There was a very famous singer in I mean, there can also be jealousy. A very famous singer, and it was a Jewish guy, and they made movies about him and everything, Al Jolson, and he could not stand to hear anybody else receive applause. He couldn't stand to hear. He would sit in his room. There were people that appeared before him. He was like in his time. He was like the 20s or the 30s or whatever. He was the greatest. Maybe the 30s or the 40s. He had to put his things in his ears. He didn't want to hear anybody else. He couldn't accept the fact that he wasn't the best. He had to be the best. He couldn't accept criticism from anybody. Right? Is that true? There's a lot of people that are like that. Okay, but anyway, you should cherish criticism because at least it'll put you on true heights. You'll understand, maybe I'm not 100%, maybe I'm not God, and maybe I'm not. You start to think about it, maybe I got to fix myself up. Okay. I'll tell one more story. Once I heard two fellows arguing, one arguing with the other. One was telling the other guy, you're this, you're this. The one that was getting yelled at said to the first one, tell me, are you 100%? Are you 100%? He said to him. And he quieted the guy down totally. He said, listen, you're telling me what's wrong with me. You yourself, are you 100%? Right? Let's say I'm 99% wrong, right? But does that make you 100% right? You're right. And the guy said, okay, yeah, maybe I have a couple problems. You should cherish criticism. On the other hand, don't be too critical of yourself because that will discourage you from doing anything, right? So you have to find the central thing, but nevertheless, criticism is a very valuable thing. Okay, now we even have a whole thing now called coaching, which they accepting as an axiom that people don't know what to do properly. People make mistakes, and you have to be coached in order to know what. Okay, that's yesterday's. Now let's do today's. Here we go. I don't want to subscribe. Here we go. The Tzemach Tzedek composed many melodies. He studied Torah aloud, and he would sing when he was learning the Torah. Sometimes he would interrupt his studies, and he would sing another melody. My grandfather said, this is the previous Rebbe speaking, this is the Rebbe Marash, who was the son of the Tzemach Tzedek. He said that from the sound of the melody, he could tell what subject he was learning. If he was learning from the Talmud, if he was learning spiritual things, you could tell. Okay, singing is good. There's by the way a lot of Chabad nigunim. You can look them up in the online, and you can read a lot of beautiful Chabad nigunim that it's more worthwhile to hum than a lot of the not so holy things going around in the world, songs. All right, now we will have a story, and I already told the story. So